Good afternoon. Good afternoon, wit fellow. Thanks for joining. We'll get going in a minute or so. Just like to give everybody a chance to jump in if they wish to do so, and then we'll break down some markets. Very light calendar today. Obviously, US bank holiday, so not expecting too much to come out of the US session today. To be honest, not expecting huge amounts of volume to come through. So, yeah, not expecting too much. So maybe a quick session today, but we'll go over some markets, some interesting points. I think there's some obviously some good markets to have a little look at the moment. I quite like the idea of the sort of risk on play coming back into the markets at the moment. And we did do a video yesterday talking about CAD yen. So we can have a little look at CAD yen and have a little look at some markets like that as well. We've got cable to look at. We've got gold to look at as well. And I'm actually going to take a look at the FTSE because we're coming into sort of the end of November now, going into that December period, and there's usually a really good seasonal play on the FTSE through December. So we're going to take a look at that as well, and yeah, we'll maybe have a little look at some seasonals coming into the end of the month. Let me just quickly have a little look here and see if I can bring over I want to see if I've still got the currency heat map. And if I do, I think I do. Yeah, let's have a little look at this yearly heat map. Yearly heat map is basically just where we could be focusing our attention in December as well. So let's take a look at this first. We'll zoom in a little bit on the heat map. So we're looking basically towards the end of this area over here where November and December is. We're going to have a little look at what markets we should be potentially paying attention to. Let me just change the color of the rectangle here. So we're going to focus on these two columns here. And what we're going to do is basically have a little look at where we should be focusing some attention going into that December period. Now, obviously, the sort of darker green is sort of more bullish, and the sort of darker red is the most sort of bearish through that time period. Now, one that really stands out, obviously, right now is the euro. We can see that the euro potentially has quite a strong December, so that's going to be something that there's some potential to focus on. I can see that the Mexican peso, which is something I used to trade quite often, I haven't traded for a while. Mexican peso usually sees quite a lot of downside through there, which really speaking, you want to be buying the peso to get the good swap rates. So selling it is a little bit of a tricky order to do. But we've also got the Swiss franc as a potential bullish currency as well. Now, the Swiss franc's been quite bullish recently, especially against the US dollar. And I actually looked at a potential long today, dollar Swiss, but I didn't actually get involved. But we can have a little look at dollar Swiss shortly. But yeah, that's where we should be focusing some attention as well. Obviously, as well, look at the stock markets through this kind of November, December period. You've got the Dow, NASDAQ, S&P, Nikkei, FTSE, all usually have pretty good Novembers going into December as well. Now, obviously, we've seen that recently out the stock markets. They have been performing pretty well. December is actually usually a pretty good time as well to see that kind of increase via the sort of stocks. You know, we always have the Santa rally and things like that. So we're starting to see them sort of moves coming together. And in December, actually, the FTSE performs particularly well. And you can see out of these kind of indices here that the FTSE has sort of a bigger increase than most of those there. So that's going to be something we need to take note of. Good afternoon, Vincent. Thanks for joining. So yeah, this is where we could be focusing some attention going into the end of the year. I can see that the dollar index and the 10-year note usually performs pretty poorly And so maybe this dollar weakness that we've seen in the market is something that is going to continue into the end of the year. Natural gas actually usually has a little bit of a flip, 6.54% usual rise in November, and then flips to minus 4.25 in December through to January and February. So maybe there's a big play on natural gas that we could potentially look into as well. For those traders that like commodities, you've got palladium, usually does pretty well this time of year, and as well as corn. So some interesting markets to really have a look into. Potentially orange juice could be one to look at. I don't know if anybody looks into trading like orange juice and things like this. You might have to look at sort of different sort of opportunities around that. But orange juice can fall through December, and I know that orange juice this year has actually performed very well. So I think it's over at least 100% move this year orange juice has had. So maybe we're coming into that sort of seasonal period where orange juice might perform pretty poorly. So yeah, that's going to be something to take note of as well. So yearly heat map, I'll keep reminding us of that going into next week as well, just to kind of give us a good update. But the FTSE is something I wanted to have a little look at going into today's session. Let me just change the view here so you've got a bigger view of the charts. The FTSE I like a lot. Basically, if I just bring up the FTSE's seasonal pattern. Now, Equity Clock hasn't actually updated this for a good while, but looking at the indices, where's the FTSE? London FTSE 100 index. Okay, let me just bring this down so you can see this as well. The FTSE usually has a sort of low formed in December and has quite a strong rally. That's what I'm kind of focusing in on here on the FTSE. Now, what's quite interesting about this is if you look at kind of what's going on here, there's usually sort of a bottom found through sort of November and December. And through December, we get a bit of a sharp move and a correction. So I'm looking for that opportunity. Now, if we kind of look at what's going on with price right now, you've got this sort of similar potential bottoming area. You've got price bottoming towards this 72.70, and obviously that may coincide with this kind of seasonal pattern in there. So I'm looking potentially for FTSE to have quite an aggressive nosedive earlier into December, but into potentially these kind of lows for quite a rapid rise. Now, this does coincide with the fact that there is a little bit of a potential to play this range here. So if I look at the weekly chart, price has been making lower highs essentially, but this level down here is quite supported. That 72 sort of 70, 7250 zone is quite supported here for the FTSE. So I'm looking to see, can we try and trade to the upside here for a potential trading opportunity. So I like the FTSE there. That's what I'm going to be watching. I'm going to see if there's any kind of support coming in around that point in the near future. So maybe we can start setting some alerts around this area, see if there's any kind of price action to come from it. Obviously, longs, you'd be looking to target up at swing highs. I've got this daily chart looking at the potential 7,700 area, which are those kind of swing highs. So if I just pop a label in and around here, let's just properties on that. It's around 76.90 upwards, I would say. So anything in that sort of zone there could be quite interesting to have a look at. So maybe a dip into this zone and then a rally through December. So I'm really keeping a close eye on that market. Other markets that are quite like going into, or that we've seen this week, have kind of come into key support and resistance levels. We've got gold. The last time we spoke about gold really was looking for longs into this $2,005 area. We were looking to get long basically down in this supporting zone through here. And if you actually want to see some more analysis on that, you can head over to the VIP trading room here. You can see there was some analysis done over on the VIP trading room. You can have a little look at people posting their analysis in here. I talked about gold approaching this key resistance zone, and we had a little bit of a potential to watch a reversal form at that point. And I'm only looking for short-term reversals here. I do think gold's quite a strong commodity at the moment. But if I go and scroll back If we scroll all the way back towards the sort of, I think it was around about the 7th of November, I was looking to see, could price push towards this area here. Hopefully it will load. I might have gone a little bit too far there. 31st. Let's have a little look. What day is that? Okay, it hasn't loaded up, but I was looking to basically get long in and around this area for a move up towards this $2005 point. And now that we've got that, I'm looking to see what's going to happen at this point. Are we going to see sort of sellers getting involved in and around this area? And it's probably going to be profit taking from longs, right? People getting long here. We are entering sort of the end of the week now, so people are going to be looking to reposition themselves, and there could be obviously a move down. Now, obviously, because the US, it's a bank holiday today, I don't expect too much action this afternoon, to be honest. If we look at the sort of last sort of hour, right, we haven't really seen much price action, and that's quite unusual considering it is gold. So, yeah, I'm not expecting much action this afternoon, to be honest. I think that we're probably going to see just some short moves coming through here at the moment. But we are back at a key resistance point. If I was to break this down from a 4-hour perspective, I can see that we've had this sort of classic double top pattern. We've breached, we've kind of tested the neckline of that pattern. Maybe price will want to go and seek some sort of liquidity points as well. So you could be eyeing up sort of these swing lows through here. Around about that sort of 1985 level, and maybe the kind of current week lows, which come all the way down here towards that 1970 area or 1967, around those points there. So double top, potential for a move to continue to try and hit these liquidity points, but you know, like I said, volume's going to be super, super low today. So I'm not expecting any kind of huge moves to come this afternoon. And tomorrow, in terms of high impact data, we've only got the US flash manufacturing PMIs. So again, it's very quite light on volumes until that point, I reckon. So we'll see if gold can push a little bit lower. Obviously, if we look at the weekly chart, we're kind of coming up into this sort of range highs now. On the monthly, we're in and around that range high area. So, you know, are we going to see sort of an extremes to the sort of 2070 area, or are we going to see a little bit of a move down? Now, gold typically, let's just have a quick look. Gold through December can be quite bullish. And January is usually its most bullish time of year. So, you know, looking at that, we could expect maybe a continuation and a breakout towards the highs here on gold from a seasonal perspective. Now, dollar index is going to play a big part in this. The US dollar has weakened quite considerably over the past couple of weeks, or the past few weeks, really, ever since we kind of came and tested the 107 highs. We've breached lower. We had a bit of a week of sort of stalling out and then another move lower. And then we've kind of found some support around about the 103s, which is something we pointed out from this daily chart. Essentially, we were looking at these kind of swing lows in here. So dollar finding a little bit of sort of a pullback at this current moment in time. Whether that will be sustained will be something we'll have to keep an eye on. Obviously, we had this little range, price broke through, retested it, found a little bit of resistance. But I think the real key is going to be this 104 spot 50 area. If price can hold 104 spot 50, I think then it's going to look more to the fact that the dollar could continue to weaken. If we can try and trade above 104.50, it opens up the door for a move back up to the sort of 105s, 106s. So that's going to be something to watch. I think 104.50 is going to be a pretty good level to look out for. And obviously, we've had this kind of swing area in here as well, that 104 where price could head towards in the short term. But currently finding support around about the 103.30s, having a little bit of a move higher at this current moment in time. So we'll see if that dollar strength can play out. Now, one currency pair that I really like the look of today was dollar Swiss. And I was trying to watch these lows in here, and I was looking at potentially getting in long around about this area this morning, but I ended up just walking away from it and leaving it. That was a bad decision in the end because price has rallied to the upside. But this is one of those where we've got sort of a strong level of support. If we have a look at the daily chart here, you can see this day back on the 4th of September, there was quite a low ranging day, followed by aggressive buying. So as price was coming down, this was an area I thought that maybe price would want to go and retest again. We are in that zone now, and you can see the price action on the daily charts. If I zoom in, look how sort of low in range these are. Okay, now when you start seeing things like this where candles start to really lack sort of any kind of aggression, especially after a move to the downside, it can start to lead to some potential reversals forming. So maybe dollar Swiss is going to be on the turn here and start pushing back towards this kind of 0.9 area soon. But I was looking at these 4-hour lows and I thought they look pretty good for a long, but you've got sort of a consolidation there. Typically, if price hits a level of support and consolidates, it can obviously follow through to the next level of support. That's what we had. We're on that consolidation again now. So I'm looking to see, what happens when price moves higher. Does sellers reject it? Like you've got this quite large wick in here, for instance, or do we start breaching those highs? If we start breaching these sort of levels of resistance, then you can see here, whenever you get these kind of real aggressive moves, that's a lack of sort of trading volume through there, and volumes are being pushed quite quickly. When price comes back to these points, you can often see these areas again filled quite quickly. So we might see price try and push back towards this area. Obviously, there was lots of selling going on here because we were sort of consolidated and then aggressively move lower. So price may want to go and sort of retest that volume up there. So that's what I'm going to look for really on dollar Swiss, see if we can get that kind of push back to the upside here. Any questions so far, guys? Any charts you want me to take a look at? Let me know in the comment section, or hopefully I'm not talking too fast. Probably going to be a short stream today because the US bank holiday. Usually we go anywhere between sort of 30-50 minutes. But let me know if there's anything that you're watching as well. Yen was something of interest to us recently. Obviously, dollar yen, it's had some big moves in the market, and I was looking to see if that could continue. Now, from a daily perspective, there has been some really good levels of interest, even a 4-hour actually. Let me just turn off the period separators there. First of all, you want to look for any kind of areas of key support and resistance. I mean, look at this area down through here. Really good sort of demand coming in and around these points. Buyers getting aggressive as we came down into this point, and looks like buyers were there again. We've had quite a few sort of retests in that area. You can see those long wicks to the downside, aggressive buying coming into the market. Bit of a pullback, potentially some aggressive buying coming in again. And this is what kind of brought my attention to CAD yen. So yeah, Simon, we'll take a look at CAD yen, because I was looking to see that risk on play coming back into the market. Now, usually the market's in sort of two modes. You've got risk on, risk off. Risk off usually sees the yen strengthen. Risk on usually sees the yen weakness. Now, the reason for that is because yen is considered a safe haven, because their sort of interest rate policies don't tend to change. So I think that we're probably seeing a little bit of that sort of risk off play in the markets at the moment. And we're starting to see that yen sort of weaken in here, because the dollar hasn't really found strength, has it? If we look at the dollar index, it hasn't really found great strength, but the yen has been weakening quite aggressively. So that's why I was looking at sort of CAD yen recently, because I wanted to see how price reacted to some key lows. So if I just, again, take off those period separators, very similar place to where price action was kind of happening on dollar yen. We've got all this demand coming down through here, strong aggressive buyers coming in every time price comes into this zone, right? So when price comes to a zone like this, it's just making ourselves aware that there could be buying coming back into the market, and we have seen that aggression again. Buyers have stepped back in. So whenever I see something like that, I always try and look at areas where's price potentially going to go to, and most visibly we can see that price turned around towards this sort of 110.60 60 area. So after a sort of large move like that, what it tells me is that there were aggressive sellers at this zone in here. So they might, be tested essentially as price comes up to that point. Price may want to try and retest that zone. Sellers may get active again there and push price to the downside, or we might see those sellers give up and price continue to push higher. So looking at this sort of CAD yen environment here and the trend, we can see that the hourly chart starting to sort of show an upward trend here. Yesterday I pointed out this area, right? So it's the 108.70 in and around that point. That was where I was really interested in price, because again, we had aggressive buying coming in, a slight pause, and then followed by aggressive buying. So that tells me that after some aggressive buyers came in, these sellers tried to get involved with price, but they failed. Those sell orders would have turned into buy orders, and price went and targeted an area where sellers had been in the past. Now, this morning, we kind of, or overnight, I should say, we kind of, in the Asia session, we created this low here around about the 108.90s or around about the 109s. Price kind of came back into this area today, and I was looking to see if we'd get a breach lower before that continuation, and we didn't quite get that. Instead, price has held for now at this level. We don't know whether that's going to obviously hold. I don't think necessarily that aggressive buyers are getting in here right now, because I think if we were to see aggressive buying, we would have been sort of breaching these highs by now. So maybe if we do get a breach, this 108 spot, sort of 60, 108 spot 70 could be the next kind of point of interest. So that's CAD yen. Marco hitting some major levels, but still strong. Is that a yen, you think? Pound CAD, yeah, we'll go take a look at pound CAD. I think pound CAD I have open, maybe. No, I don't. I'll have to have a look at something else. I was looking at, obviously, potential Aussie CADs longs. And I was Kiwi CAD long earlier in the week, but I actually got stopped for about, I think it was around about 40 pips. Yeah, let me check out Pound CAD. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for joining the live stream. Hope you're enjoying it. If you are new, hit that subscribe button. We do live streams every Tuesday and Thursday. Come ask some questions on some charts you want to have a little look at. Let's have a look at Pound CAD. Now, Pound obviously had some great data out this morning. Flash manufacturing PMIs came out a lot better, and flash services PMIs were up as well. So everything was looking pretty good for the pound today. Let's go to that daily time frame. Let's take off a few of these. Let's have a look at the weekly, actually. Weekly is quite clean on Pound CAD. So, yeah, I can see there's support or resistance, sorry, I should say, up at this area through here, these prices. Previous sort of weekly highs back in August and July of this year. So if we just pop a little label on there. So around that sort of 72.80. Let's see where 73 puts us right in that range there. So price heading towards that area now. Okay, we're kind of getting very close to a very good sort of area where sellers have got involved in the past. This area down here is going to be quite interesting. Let's just pop a label on there as well. So around about 164 is that area through here. Again, we're approaching a key area of resistance. So if you're looking to be long this market, I'd just be aware that we are coming into a very strong resistance point. We've obviously just tried to breach this 72.15, which was this sort of daily swing high back on the 30th of August. And prices failed a couple of times to breach that, but there could be a move up into that 173 there, the more extreme highs through there. And if price does get to that sort of level, then we could obviously see some selling pressure coming in. 4 hour at the moment. Large move up. Looks like a little consolidation going on here. I think if price is kind of contained within that area, we're probably more likely to see another rally back to the upside there. I'd be watching these swing lows quite closely, because what you don't want to see is, obviously, if price starts to breach lows like this, like I said before, if you were to like plot volume on the chart, there'd be large volume in here, no volume at all, large volume down here, right? And price moves between these kind of volume areas. Now, in low volume pockets, price can move quite quickly between those areas. So it doesn't surprise me why that did that, because if you look left, you've got this sort of zone through here where there was a lack of volume in the first place, right? From that sort of move to the downside. So lack of volume, usually you get price moving quite aggressive. If price holds here and we just go sideways, volume will get larger and larger within that point. If price fails to breach the lows of the volume, we can often see price go and discover other prices, that being that sort of 170 sort of 3 area that we just looked at. So we're probably going to see a potential move up to that 173. If we breach back below these current sort of 30-minute lows, then we might come and revisit back towards that 171. But pound CAD, I feel, probably has got a little bit more upside to be had, especially with that 173 area up through there. That would be a big sort of turning point for me. If I saw that, I'd say, I wouldn't really want to be long if we were in that sort of level up there. I mean, we did talk about sort of pound Kiwi as well. We were talking about getting long down through here. I didn't get long on pound Kiwi, but I did try and take a couple of longs on euro Kiwi. Probably not the best thing to do, considering the euro wasn't that strong. But these wicks were basically is what I saw coming into the market. So I ended up getting long in and around this area. I took profits here. I was looking to try and target this zone, but euro's just not that strong at the moment. Obviously, we just looked at the heat map, and euro strength can maybe come through in December. So maybe that's what we were waiting for. I wish I took pound Kiwi instead, because pound was actually a currency that was getting stronger on the strength meter as well. So if I just bring in the currency strength meter, where's that gone? Up here. Yeah, we were discussing what was going on here really on the currency strength meter, what currencies were getting stronger, what currencies were getting weaker. And obviously pound is this orange line through here. Pound is kind of above the sort of midpoint of the currency strength meter. Kiwi is this yellow one, and Kiwi was pushing lower. So Kiwi is quite a weak currency at the moment. Aussie was quite a strong currency. But basically, I was looking to see what would happen to pound Kiwi. Would pound Kiwi push higher? And we noticed these kind of swing lows down through here. So look at those kind of rejections in and around this area here. So probably would have been the better option, to be honest, pound Kiwi over euro Kiwi. Pound Oz as well. Pound Oz has pretty much done what we thought it would do. Pretty much stayed at that 1.9. So definitely seeing that Oz strength that we've seen recently begin to fade a little bit. Anything on gold? Yeah, we kind of discussed gold at the start. We were looking at the potential for gold to just basically find a little bit of resistance here. We're back up at the sort of daily swing highs around about that $2005 area. Not necessarily expecting gold to be too bearish here. I think this is probably just a good place for those traders that were long down towards the 1930 level to kind of take some profits. So I'm just expecting a little bit of a relief. It's a US bank holiday today, so US volumes here are going to be super low. So I don't really expect any kind of big movements on gold to come today. I think we've seen most of the action already. Right then, guys, I think that's all I've got in me, to be fair. I was looking at a potential cable coming up at 125. We did like a little alert video. We had a little bit of a bounce. Really good pound data coming in. Again, price finding support at lows. Real good pound data has pushed pound prices higher. So it'd be interesting to see, can these kind of, pound levels hold here? And do we start getting that sort of downside movement? But like I said, coming into the US session, we've got a lack of movement now. So it's probably going to be a very, very slow afternoon to come. So, yeah, I'm probably going to leave it there, guys. Thank you for joining the live stream today. Like I said, we do live streams every Tuesday and Thursday. So if you are interested, then join me at 2 p.m. GMT every Tuesday and Thursday. Thanks for everybody that joined today. Really appreciate all your comments and questions. Leave a like on the stream if you can. And yeah, I will catch you on Tuesday. Cheers, guys.